Viewer request time. Welcome to the Drunk Linux User. I'm Len. I am the Drunk Linux User. We have a viewer request today, so I'll get to that in just a minute. But yesterday I was talking about web fonts and how to disable them, and I said I couldn't find any websites that were broken. I was wrong. Take a look at Reddit, for example, and you see all these little squares here. Well, let's go ahead and log in, and takes just a second. All right, see all these little squares here and all these little squares up here. Well, these used to be icons, and apparently those icons are also fonts. So, to let you know, that was a solution, but it wasn't exactly the right solution. So we're going to go back into the settings, and I'm going to show you what I had to do to get those icons back. And it was a combination of things. One, I disabled under settings, under default behavior, I disabled the block remote fonts checkmark that I had put in before. I had to do that, and going back under my filters, I had to remove this line that I added of star $ font comma third hyphen party. Apply the changes. All right, so now we're going to close out the browser because just a simple restart isn't going to, or a refresh isn't going to do it for us. So we're going to restart. There we go. And we're going to go over back to Reddit. Log in. Maybe. And I think you can already see some of those icons are coming back. All right, and there we go. Here's our icons along the top. And we have icons up here that were, these little stars were missing as well. The arrows were missing. So you really can lose some functionality on a web page if you block the web fonts from those two settings that I showed you before. Now what I did do is I did leave, get my mouth to work, I did leave this Fanboys anti-third-party fonts in, and hey, Pop! OS seems to be working, so if I find another break, I'll let you know, but just wanted to let you know about that. Now, I had a viewer request that I want to approach because I did find out some interesting things about this, and if you end up liking this video, please smash all the buttons on YouTube for me and make a comment or two. Let me know how I'm doing with this. So, it's about Humble Bundle. I knew I was going to screw that up. And so I did a little research before I actually just started talking about this. And is it legit? Is it worth it? Yes, it's legitimate. It's been around since 2010. They say it has a proven track record. This is through GameShift.com. The reason that I'm going through this is the original request for the show was about the Linux package, and I will get to that in just a minute. So what's it all about? Well, you can buy discounted games and publications through Humble Bundle. And what they allow you to do is to either give the developer, publisher, or whoever all the money, or you can divvy it up between the publisher, the developer, and or a charity. And there's different ways that you can do it. As you can see, this is like a sliding scale of how you want your money to go. Can it be trusted? And they say they have currently over 200,000 subscribers. It is a monthly fee for this. And you don't exactly get the latest games, but you do get other games at a discount with arrangements that have been made by Humble Bundle to the publishers that actually have these games. So it's totally legit, but apparently I'm going to see if this is the page. This is not the page. Okay, let's go over to the next one. And I will put these links up so that you can take a look at them real quick. This page under reviews by Insider, Business Insider. Again, it's rather glowing. And the question comes up, is it legit? It's a real business that offers shoppers major savings while contributing a portion of the proceeds to charity. It partners with major video game developers like Capcom, Bandai Namco, and Sega to bring popular titles to gamers at pay what you want pricing. We'll get to that in a minute as well. This article goes through pretty much everything that's relatively recent and questions about is it worth it and everything. And some people really, really do like this. So under PC Magazine, they say the cons on this are no community features and most purchases require a separate launcher. This is available on Linux, Mac, Nintendo Switch, and Windows. And there are DRM-free options. You may see comments to the contrary, but apparently that has either been fixed or it's a brand new offering. So, talks about charities and deals again. Once again, I'm going to get to that. And no comments there. So, must be this guy right here. Trustpilot.com. As you can see, it's pretty well split between excellent and bad. Let's just get that out of the way. Now, 3 days ago, great website for games. And then you kind of start seeing some things that are not quite all that good. No key. Customer support needs more than 10 working days for support tickets. That was as September 8th. Bought out by IGN. Corpy's ate the soul. And some information apparently to back that up. One person says site literally scams users. Not humble at all. I can't buy anything because I keep, so on. Then we have another 5-star review. Going back to 1. So it really does pay to do some research. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad company or that they may not be experiencing some troubles right now. Maybe they have shifted their way of doing business, but I don't know. As a lot of you already know, I am not a gamer. So I have absolutely no reference point in which to judge any of this. However, I do want to bring up the website and show you what they're offering currently. And there's quite a bit. And I do believe that the viewer was talking about this particular section right here. Linux by No Starch Press. Let's move on to that real quick. Now, what this does is it gives you the opportunity to pay at least $40 for all 21 items. If you want to do that, by all means do that. However, if you just want to buy one book, for example, go for it. Now, I did take a look at a couple things that I would think were of interest to me. The Book of Inkscape, you just click on the picture there and then you can preview the PDF and you can start reading through to see if this is something that would be of interest to you. Does this come across clearly? One thing that I noticed is that the books that they're showing here are relatively recent. I've seen books that have information dating back to 2018 and then all the way up to 2022. So I'm not really sure how up to date all of these books are going to be, but some of them are probably going to be very, very timeless. For example, the Linux command line. If you wanted to take a look at that, DevOps for the Desperate, Practical Linux Forensics, how Linux works, things along that line. You probably definitely get your dollar's worth or whatever you want to contribute to this. When it comes to things like the charities, for example, I'm just going to give you a piece of advice. We all know how much it's worth. So let's just kind of dig into this. I'm not going to talk about the charities that are on this website. That's not why I'm here. Why I am talking about the charities, however, is that you should really do your research. Just because you've heard a name all your life doesn't necessarily mean that that charity is providing all of the resources that they say they are to the people that are in need. There can be as little as 3% going from the charity to the people in need, and the rest is just overhead for the charity. They may be nonprofit, but they still meet payroll. They still have to put the lights on. They have to maybe pay for a building, things along that line. So find out how much is going towards those that are needy. Also, find out what their mission statements are, because just because there's a name that may invoke children and tug at your heartstrings, they may not be actually providing the type of service that you think they are, or you think that they need to. And then just find another charity and move on if you want to donate for something like that. Now, getting back over to Humble, there are a lot of different options here. Let's get over to Linux. This is under games, and you can see that there are different prices being offered up. I beg ignorance on this because I do not know what these things cost, either in the store, online, or any other way. But you can kind of see that there's a number of pages, and 142 as a matter of fact. So there's a lot of games to choose from for Linux if you're interested. There are games, books, and software. Getting over to software, you can see that they do offer some here. Music Producer, Unity Unreal Engine, Master Azure, Unity Tools, Unity Art, SFX, and music, sound effects, and music. There's a lot here offered. I cannot vouch for the company, but I do say that it is an interesting business model, and maybe with the change over to, I believe it was IGN that they talked about before over here. Excuse me as I scroll back up the page. And, oh well, I cannot find that right away, but I believe it was IGN. Anyway, maybe they're hitting some speed bumps, changing the way that they do their business model, or maybe even customer service or support or whatever. IGN. So I really cannot tell you yes, go for this, or no, stay away from it. But apparently the company is legit. If you've ever run across this before and wondered, and if you're interested, give it a shot. So let's see, we've covered web fonts, we've covered Humble Bundle. Boy, I'm going to have to say that slow for the rest of my life, I know it. And we've talked about charities and how to be careful with that. I think we've pretty much reached the end of this show, so let's go ahead and give our words of wisdom. Before I do that, though, if you're that creative Linux user who wants to get their name out, watch this video over here, Time to Shine. I'll give you instructions so I can try to get your name out there for everybody to watch. All right, now let's do words of wisdom. Don't drive drunk. Don't drink and drive. Don't go to eBay, Amazon, or use MSN shopping all buzzed up thinking you're going to buy the latest and greatest and coolest stuff, because you're probably not. And in the meantime, bottoms up. Later, dudes.